important when you, and also we could, Joshua Kershaw, door supervisors.
Yeah.
Not bouncers.
No, door supervisors.
Door supervisors. How are you both this morning?
Good, how are you?
Really well, thank you. So, look, at this moment in time, you are not protected in the same way that emergency workers are protected. And we saw kind of some of the experiences that you have there. And I think it's kind of worth, when we talk to emergency workers and we hear kind of the abuse they get and assaults and the situations they're in, we're rightly shocked. But I imagine, Joshua, tell me, is this something that's quite commonplace for you?
Yeah, I mean, it happens most weekends. I think it's because of the nature of our job, it's seen as almost if it's like normal, I guess, and like we should sort of expect it to happen. But like you said, if it happens anywhere else, it's obviously called out.
What's the kind of place you work in now, and how does it compare if you've worked in other different places?
Yeah, so the place I work in now is like it's a nice little bar. It's all table seating, everyone's sat down. I never have any issues, but that's only because in December I had a weapon pulled on me. Someone put out a firearm in the nightclub I was at, so it was just like the final straw, I guess. And I have a family to go home to every night, so obviously I don't want to be getting injured or anything.
So when someone pulled a weapon on you, what just briefly what happened to kind of get to that point? But what protection did you have?
Zero. Obviously we're not allowed to carry any weapons or anything like that. When he pulled it out, he did spray paint. Obviously we found it and he spray painted it black, so to us it was a real gun. So obviously we had to sort of try and restrain him, but we don't know if we're going to get shot or whatever else he's got. So I think it was like a massive shock for us all, because we never expect, especially in England, for people to carry firearms. So it was a massive worry for us all.
Well, I'm presuming, and that's properly traumatic.
Yeah.
So it affected you in the longer term?
A bit, yeah. Obviously, I'm a bit wary about obviously who you can trust, who you can let in. But I'm not the sort of person that sort of goes home and worries too much. Like, I understand my job and what I'm getting myself into, but I understand that obviously I shouldn't have to expect that sort of behaviour.
Absolutely. Olivia, can you give us an example, a situation you've been in? I mean, that's the further end of things, I think it's fair to say, isn't it? What about something on a more low-level basis, the kind of thing you routinely would have been facing?
Well, on a lower thing, it's not as bad as having a gun pulled at you, but you're gonna, as a female door staff, I get touched all the time by men and women sometimes, but mostly I get touched by men, and they think it's acceptable and they think that I can't do anything about it because I'm a girl. I don't know whether.
So just give us a scenario. Yeah. So you say you're working. Say you're working on the door of a club, for example. Would that be the kind of scenario we're talking about?
Yeah.
And you're there, and your job is to determine who should come in, people's behaviour more generally. And you're saying to people, you know, I don't think you should come in. Just give me a kind of scenario where that kind of thing happens.
So I would tell somebody that they can't come in the other day because they grabbed me and tried to kiss me.
So they've just come in straight away and done that?
Yeah, absolutely. Somebody came to the door the other day. I asked him for his ID. He said, I don't have one, but I want this, and grabbed me and just tried to kiss me. And you have to, it's very difficult because you have to try to remain cool and collective when that's happening, because you can't just lash out at someone. That's when you lose your badge. But there's no repercussion for him grabbing me and trying to kiss me.
So there was no consequence?
No, absolutely not.
Who could you report it to?
The thing is, in the past when we've reported things to the police, my colleague had his finger broken, my other colleague got punched in the face, and I got kicked in the stomach on one incident. We reported it to the police. They took him away. They told us the next day they just sent him off. He just stayed in the drunk tank.
Well, you're nodding along. I mean, this sounds like a very familiar pattern.
Yeah, it's just not taken serious, I think. Like I said, it's sort of expected for us to sort of go through it. It's like I've reported, like I said, numerous assaults. Racism's a massive thing. People spitting at you. It's just almost as if like it's not taken serious, and they just get told to move away and never like actually charged or any repercussions happen. But that's going to continue.
Why? I mean, why do you think there is a lack of action?
That's a whole different question. I think.
Well, give me your best thoughts. I mean,
to be quite fair, I do think there's a massive. Obviously, the police are very, very underfunded. I think that's probably the biggest issue. So, of course, they have more pressing issues. But in the same breath, it's still a very serious thing for someone to be assaulted.
But you've been assaulted.
No, exactly, yeah.
And you're a citizen. I mean, you're a citizen first and foremost. So if you get assaulted, that's an assault. It's not something else.
No,
I spoke to a police officer about it, and his reasoning was that we took the job, they get assaulted every day, and nothing happens about that. So why should anything happen about this?
And that was obviously one lone voice, because I'm sure that police officer's not represented. The National Police Chiefs Council League for Alcohol Licensing and Harm Reduction has said that people take abuse directed towards store supervisors incredibly seriously. No one should be expected to put up with the abuse as part of the job. We strongly encourage those who suffer abuse or those witnessing offences to report these to the police. These reports are vital in investigating offences and helping us to build an intelligence picture so we can prioritise our resources and respond effectively. Does it feel, when you have reported it, I mean, I think I kind of know, yeah, you're just shaking your head.
It just sounds like they're trying to please people with the statement you just read.
Yeah, or you just get a crime reference number and then that's sort of it.
Why do you think people are so ready to be? I mean, I know there's alcohol involved, you know, people can get a bit leery or whatever. Why do you think they're so ready to kind of front up or abuse door security?
It's kind of just the standard at this point. Obviously, there's the word bouncer, which everybody associates with you should be massive, you should be superhuman. If I hit you, you shouldn't feel it. But we